Hello, my name is Martin Tully. I'm a sales engineer slash solutions architect here at Portnox. And today what I want to do was showcase one of our new features. It is conditional access for applications. And in this particular video, what I'm going to demonstrate is how to add an identity provider so that we can link applications and authenticate through that identity provider. So inside your Portnox tenant, what you want to do in order to create this identity provider is go into settings, go into integration services, and what you'll see here is identity provider service. You'll just expand that out. You can see I've already created a few in mine, but all you have to do is click on add a new identity provider. Once you click on that, you can do OpenID or you can do SAML. In this particular case, we will use SAML as our identity provider, and we are going to be using Microsoft Azure as well. So one of the first things we need to do here is we need to put in a provider name. Once you put in your provider name, then the other settings that we need to put in is the login, sign-in URL, as well as an identifier or issuer, right? This would be supplied from within Microsoft Azure, and then we have a couple of pieces here that are provided from your tenant when we create the SAML identifier, which will be put into Azure. So let's take a look at my Azure environment and let's see what we need to do here. So within Azure, what we need to do is we need to create an enterprise application. So in Azure, you'll come here on your left-hand side, you'll click on enterprise applications. You'll see that I already got a whole bunch here. What you'll want to do here is create a new application. You'll give it a name, right? So create a new application. You want to say create your own application. Then you give that application a name and you hit create. Once it's done creating, what you'll see here is that you'll have an application. And let me expand this out here. And we'll select this one here. So I have one here called a Portnox SAML test. On the left-hand side, what I want to do is select single sign-on. And you'll see here I have some options. The one I'm going to select is SAML. And what you can see is I have 4 pieces of information that need to be filled in for the single sign-on. So one of the first 2 pieces is the identity ID and the reply URL or the assertion consumer service URL. And to do that, you would just click on edit. And you can see here what you'll do is you'll click on add identifier and add identifier for this piece here. If I move this over, right, inside your Portnox tenant, the identifier is right here. So you just can click on copy and paste that in here. And then the assertion consumer URL, which is this piece here, again, just copy and paste here. And that would mean that these 2 pieces here have been filled out. Once we get those 2 pieces done, what we can do here is we'll come down here and we will download a certificate. So you'll download a certificate base 64 and we'll download that and we'll put that aside. And then you come down a little bit further and you'll see here that we have some URLs, a login and a Microsoft Entra identifier. And these pieces of information, again, you have these copy options here, is what we need to put in up here. So you can see here the login URL, which we would put in here, the Microsoft Entra identifier, which we put in here as well. And then remember, we did download that certificate here. So here is the signing certificate piece. So you can hit browse, find that certificate you downloaded and you upload it. And once you've done that, hit saved and you've added an identity provider inside the Portnox tenant. One big thing here to remember when you're setting up a enterprise application in Azure is make sure you assign this to users and groups that are going to be using that SAML on this particular application. Otherwise, you'll get an error message stating that they do not have permission to access this application. All right, stay tuned for more videos on Portnox's new conditional access for applications. The next video will be how to add an application into your Portnox tenant.